Hello everyone, I'm Hillary with Dominion Tea, and today we're going to talk about tea from Malawai. So let's get a little bit of a history lesson out of the way first before we get into the beverage. So the British entered into the Malawai region around 1859, so this would be David Livingstone, to start mapping out how they were going to settle into Africa. And Malawai has got a very high elevation area in the northern part of the country around and near Lake Malawai. And it was in mapping this out that they realized, oh, great place to plant tea plants. And sure enough, they did. And so Malawai, for the latter part of the 1800s, well into the mid-1900s, was a British colony. And sure enough, they had plenty of tea plantations in that British colony. And a lot of them have survived to modern day. Including the one we're going to talk about today. So the Satemwa Estate is the largest tea estate in Malawai, and we're lucky enough to be able to source teas from them and get them here in the United States. So they have produced tea since the early 1920s. They are the largest employer in the country, and they work very hard to put out some pretty amazing teas in the orthodox fashion. They also happen to do coffee, but that's a different story. So let's talk a little bit about what they've done. So the British brought in, using the Asamika variety, right? So we've got these beautiful big leaves. They've done a great dry green tea, and they have dried it in a way that gives it a very grassy finish to it. That also has the slight astringency because you're still dealing in this Asamika cultivar. And this is their Zumba green. Now, Zumba is actually the name of the original capital of the British colony. And that's what they've named the tea after. But this beautiful green tea is a very light brew. Of course, you're going to steep it just like you would any other green, 3 minutes, 175 degrees. But it does give you a nice alternative if you happen to like those dry baked Chinese greens, because it's got a slightly softer finish to it. It's actually pretty cool. They also venture into the world of pu'er, baked. Okay, so Malawai's got lots of humidity. Trying to do a raw pu'er is not going to work there, so they do have to take it through the baking process to get it dried out. And this is a wonderful loose pu'er. They don't do it in cakes. That allows us to do some blending and have some creative kind of other alternatives with it. But the pu'er itself is very earthy, still brews kind of dark, right? Just like a normal shoe pu'er. But it's an interesting alternative. It's got a slightly smoother flavor, not quite as mushroomy as a Chinese pu'er, but well worth exploring. And last but not least, they took out those big long leaves again and kept them intact with some hand twisting to produce their black tea. And these gorgeous black leaves have actually been dried over guava wood. And what that does is it's really similar to drying it over pine. There's actually a change in the chemistry of the tea leaf, and it smooths out the tea and it gives it a fuller body. But this is really interesting. So it brews light, almost like a Keema Maofeng out of China. But it's got a pretty complex finish because of the guava wood. So you get spicy, you get a little bit of smoky, right? They dried it over wood. You're not going to avoid that, but this is not lapsang. It's very faint, but you get an interesting cinnamon finish to it and a beautiful smooth in between. So Malawi is an interesting country, right? Not one that typically comes up for tea, but one that absolutely deserves your time and attention. So go explore. We hope you enjoyed learning more about tea with us. Hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified when we add more videos to our channel. And check out the highlighted videos to learn even more about tea. And last but not least, you can check out all of the teas we talk about in our videos at dominiontea.com.